Ravens 49ers this Sunday at 1 p.m. Unfortunately, it wasn't flexed to a primetime game because NFL decided, you know what? Those Patriots and those Texans, that's a much more deserving primetime game than the Ravens and the 49ers. But, you know what? I actually hope it is. Because last time this happened, when they didn't flex one of the Ravens games to primetime when we wanted them to, it was a big yikes. But anyway, this is a game that still has to be played, and we about to talk about it. And I know a lot of y'all have been waiting on this for a very long time. I mean, y'all, during the Rams game, even during the Rams game on Monday Night Football, a lot of y'all were ready. Hey, let's talk about them 49ers. During the post-game stream, a lot of y'all like, hey, let's talk about the 49ers. And I keep telling y'all, just wait a little bit. But it's here now. It's here now. But before we get into that, I know a lot of y'all play Madden. And maybe I may be playing Madden soon, especially since they got Lamar speed up to a 96. And especially, I don't know what his overall is. The update should come out today, but a lot of people may be off for the holiday. So they may come out tomorrow. I don't know. But either way, I might need to get back on it myself. But a lot of y'all play MUT. And a lot of y'all love them coins. And a lot of y'all be looking for where you can get the coins for cheap. I got a website for you. It's called GameMS.com. GameMS.com, they got Madden coins for the low. And if you want them, you just hit them up. They got 24/7 customer support. So if you got a question, hit them up. And of course, if you want your ultimate team to get better, what do? You hit them up. So the link is in the description. You let them know that Engraving Viz sent you so they can take care of you. I love y'all. And let's get into this raw edition. There ain't gonna be no edits in this one. This one's gonna be straight up. None of the music, none of the Team Keep It Clean song. A lot of y'all been asking me to drop the whole thing too. One day. But like my guy Spiritually Smart said, he said maybe you can take little pieces of the song from different videos and put it together. Then you'll have the whole thing. But anyway, I appreciate y'all big time, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I thank you all for being just great. Y'all are great. Y'all are supportive. Y'all be rocking. And I appreciate somebody. I forgot who said it, and I loved it. I loved it because it was perfect. Because there's some words that are like for me they're like cringeworthy words, like content creator. I mean, well, that word has gotten a little better to me. I hate the word content, but when you put content where creator sounds a little better. But anyway, when the word content, I don't like that word, and I do not like fan. Y'all know I hate that word. I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm a fan." I don't like that, man. Because I feel like that's trying to put somebody up above everybody else, and I do not want anybody to consider me above anybody because I'm not. And another one is I don't really hate the word community, but I like somebody said this is not Team Keep It Clean is not a community, it's a neighborhood. And man, I had loved that, man. Straight up, I had loved it. So shout out to you, whoever that was that said it. My apologies because I forgot about it. I know I loved that comment when I saw it, and I put the little heart on there too because I loved it. Anyway, that's what it is. It's a neighborhood. So y'all respect each other, even if y'all have disagreements, even if y'all see things a different way than I do or than each other do. I always see it in the comment section now, man. I just see respect, man. And again, that's like that touches me in a big way. Like seriously, man. Seriously. I ain't about to cry right now. I know Raya V. I know she'll make fun of me for crying. She always do it. Every 1,000 subscribers, every time I mention it, she like, "Ooh, you about to cry again?" Nah, not this time though. But shout out to Raya V. But that's special though, man. The fact that y'all respect each other in the comment section too, I appreciate that a lot, man. Anyway, the moment we've all been waiting for. Well, the moment we've all been waiting for actually comes this Sunday at 1. And again, some people wanted the game to be flexed to primetime, and I wouldn't have minded that. But it's all good, man. It's all good. Ravens play the 49ers. And this is going to be their toughest task yet. This is going to be their toughest task yet. And now, you know what's funny? What's funny is that we have been saying that like every week for like the past 5 out of 6 weeks, something like that. Because we said that when we were going to play the Seahawks. And we said that when we were going to play the Patriots. And then even though it wasn't the toughest, figured it would still be a tough task against the Texans. And then certainly against the Rams. And in this, it was crazy because in this stretch of the past 4 games, well, against those opponents, the Texans, who are the Texans, the Rams, the 49ers, and who am I missing? I forgot who. But anyway, this is supposed to be a very tough stretch for the Ravens. And not discrediting anything with those other teams or anything, but the Ravens have been exceeding expectations by far. And this has a lot of y'all extra confident about this game. Like, extra confident about this game. And like with me, I can't even lie. Well, I don't lie, but I can't even lie, man. Straight up. Like, watching the Ravens this season, or even watching the Ravens just recently, watching how they have just really taken care of business, man. Like, watching how these dudes have really taken care of business as a Ravens fan, and just even as a football fan, it gives you just so much confidence in these dudes, man. It gives you so much confidence in these dudes that they could run it with anybody. But I must say again that I do still think that with this 49ers team, they have their strengths and they also have their weaknesses. And with the Ravens, it seems to me kind of similar to the past game wise, similar to me how we matched up with the Rams, where it's the defensive line. Now I was watching. I don't know if y'all saw it the other day too. But I was on Instagram and Torrey Smith's story. He was was it on Twitter? I forgot. But he was going over. He said, "Oh man, I'm trying to get ready for this 49ers and Ravens game, and I'm trying to go over it. This 49ers and Ravens game." And he showed the 49ers defensive line, and it said 10 sacks for the top guy. 8 sacks, and 8 sacks was Bosa. Then it was like 6.5 sacks and 5.5 sacks. Like, these dudes have been eating. They've been eating. They have been feasting on these quarterbacks. Literally. Feasting. I know a lot of y'all gonna be feasting today, but no, these 49ers have been feasting. They also been taking care of their business. They've been taking care of their business a little differently than the Ravens have for the most part. 49ers, they've had a lot more close games, I believe, than the Ravens have had. They still had their little blowouts too now, where they just dominate, like against the Packers just last week. So they riding that high, and I mean they 10-1, so they riding the super high right now, super high. They have been taking care of their business. The only team that they lost to was the Seahawks. Now I know, like my guy Norbcam said, he said that he calls it I think he said he calls it football math, something like that. How a lot of people's logic can be. And it can be. And you can understand why it would be like that, but it's different teams and they got to match up against each other. They match up different ways. Because what he meant when he said that was that with football, a lot of people will be like, oh, since team A beat team B, since team A beat team B, then team C will come in. Now, if team C beat team A, then some people feel like team C will be better than team B, automatically. But it's just that's just not, no. Because I mean, would you consider the just to use them as an example, because this is the example that a lot of Browns fans use with me. Wait, we beat y'all. Remember, we beat y'all. We remember week 4, 40 to 25. So does that make the Browns better than the Patriots? Because we dogged the Patriots, and the Browns, they just couldn't get it done. Does that make the Browns better than the Seahawks? Because we dogged the Seahawks, and the Browns, they just couldn't get it done. You see what I'm saying? Just because one team beat the other team, y'all get it. Anyway, the Ravens got to match up with these dudes, but I think they do well. Now, just to get into it, and I know we have slightly got into it, but it's already been 10 minutes, and we didn't even get into the nitty-gritty stuff. I feel like the Ravens, the advantages for them come on defense in this one, big time. I feel like with the Ravens, and shout out to my guy Vic El Guapo. We were talking about it early this morning. With the Ravens, we weren't talking about offense. We were talking about defense. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But with Ravens defense, I feel like they really match up well with anybody, with any quarterback. But 49ers' strength on offense is the run game. It's the run game. Jimmy Garoppolo, he has had a lot of turnovers. So I expect some more in this game. I expect that pass rush to get after him. But their strength on their offense is in the run game. And, of course, it is George Kittle. Now, it's a strange thing because, now I don't know if it's because of the lack of quality tight ends that we faced, or it's just the Ravens taking care of business. I mean, Everett, he ain't bad from the Rams. And Fales, apparently to me, y'all told me he's been one of the best tight ends in the league. And the Ravens have been taking care of their business against tight ends. Now, George Kittle's in bits, he's a lot different than those guys. He's on another level than those guys. And I know he has like a broken bone in his foot or something like that. So he is dealing with that, but he's still playing. He's playing right through it, and apparently, maybe it ain't even so bad. Maybe they just trying to make George Kittle like a hero or something. Because y'all know how they do that. With different players, they'll make some heroes, and then for other ones, they're like if they facing an injury or something. Like y'all remember, what was it? It's with a lot of quarterbacks too. They do it. They'll say when they playing with an injury, they be like, oh, they playing through it. What a great guy, what a hero, man. And then if it's somebody else, like I remember, just the first one that came to mind was like Terrell Owens in the Super Bowl. I forgot what injury he had, but he played through it and he did his thing. And some people were like, oh, he's just going to hurt his team. Anyway, George Kittle is playing with an injury. And like I said, I believe it's a broken bone in his foot. But I think it may be getting a little over-exaggerated because it may not be that bad if he's playing through it. But, yeah, Ravens have been taking care of their business against tight ends. And hopefully that continues this weekend. Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver with some speed. Who's the track star again? Is it Marquise Goodwin? Do they still have Marquise Goodwin? I don't even remember. But 49ers, I feel like that's our advantages on our biggest advantage in this game. I can't even say biggest because, offense been taking care of business too. But I feel like we have a really big advantage on I feel like our defense is so much stronger than their offense, especially if the Ravens take care of business in the run game. Now, they have Matt Breida. They have Raheem Mostert. Who's there? Oh, yeah, Tevin Coleman from the 49ers. So they got a little three-headed monster. But with possibly with Michael Pierce coming back, even if Michael Pierce doesn't come back, I think we should do well in stopping the run. That is a strength of the Ravens. The Ravens defense has just been so much better ever since that Browns game. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that they have been, after the Browns game, they've been the number one defense, I believe. Because one thing that often gets overlooked, I was just talking about it with somebody, I think on Sunday. I forgot when. But one thing that often gets overlooked by this Ravens team is just how good the defense is. And now it's crazy because some of the names that we have on defense are starting to become household names. It is crazy. One of my guys he's a football fan, but he's not like a hardcore football fan where he knows every single play on every single team and he's not necessarily a casual football fan because he plays fantasy. He watches when he can, but he's not gonna be one of those guys who are like, oh man, I'm at work, so I'm missing the game and da 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 da. And I don't even think he has a favorite team. I know he's a hardcore basketball fan now. Basketball, he's all over that. But football, he's like he likes it and he'll watch it. But he's more than a casual, but less than a hardcore. But anyway, I actually was talking to him last night. Not even Sunday. I thought it was Sunday, but it was last night. So I was talking to him, and he was like, man, your Ravens, they doing really good, man. They're killing it right now. And I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, they're doing a lot better than I thought they would be. And I love it. I love it. And he was like, man, he was like, and he was like, every time, he said, every time I have a receiver in fantasy that's going up against Ravens defense, I'm like, nah, I'm not. I don't even start them that week. And he said, man, that cornerback y'all got, man, that dude has been he been killing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, Marcus Peters, right? And he's like, no, is it Humphrey? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that dude is locked down, man. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Not crazy that Marlon Humphrey is locked down, because we already know that. But it's crazy that somebody who's not a Ravens fan and is, like I said, more than a casual, but not a hardcore, because a lot of people do not know Marlon Humphrey. Even some Ravens fans call him Humphreys. But like, a lot of people do not know who Marlon Humphrey is. Unless you like, I feel like it's only hardcore football fans that really know this guy. But for him to call out Marlon Humphrey as a lockdown corner, and for him to acknowledge Marlon Humphrey, that was special. That was special. And we have our secondary is very special, man. Jimmy Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, Brandon Carr, Earl Thomas, Chuck Clark. And again, some of y'all have reminded me, we don't talk about Chuck Clark enough. We talk about a lot of the additions over time with the defense, but Chuck Clark getting that green dot, that was big too. Of course, Tony Jefferson went down to injury, so that thrust Chuck Clark into the starting spotlight, and he has handled it perfectly. The communication has been A1. It has been so on point. So I think that continues in this game, man. But Ravens advantage, and of course with their pass rush, they just keep bringing it, man. It has been getting better. They've been finishing a little more. But again, like Marlon Humphrey told Judon, he said coverage sacks all day. That means that these cornerbacks are playing at such a high level that they are really sticking with these receivers for a long time. And again, that's why if they re-sign Matt Judon, his that dollar is going up every game. It's going up every game. But whether they re-sign Matt Judon or not, you have to get two. You have to sign a major pass rusher and draft a major pass rusher. Or if you do re-sign Matt Judon, re-sign him and either draft a major one, or it would take a lot to move up. But Eric DeCosta, I mean, he's aggressive, man. He goes for what he wants. If sign Matt Judon and sign a really good pass rusher and draft one for the future. So you do a hat trick. Do the hat trick. Because it would make this defense that much more special if Matt Judon could be on one side and another elite, dominant, really good pass rusher could be on the other side. It would make, it'd make them so much better. The Ravens got a lot of decisions to make this offseason. That's why they have to win now. That's why they have to win the Super Bowl this year. They got to win it. They got to win it. Like, oh, man. Because you got Ronnie Stanley. You got Marlon Humphrey. You got Matt Judon. You got Seth Roberts, Chris Moore. They got to make that annual decision on Brandon Carr. It's Jimmy Smith, Marcus Peters. I said Ronnie Stanley already, yeah. Who else? I mean, there's more too, but we don't. I mean, yeah, it's Anthony Levine. They got to make a decision with Tony Jefferson, Peanut, Josh Bynes. It's a lot. Y'all get the point. But anyway, Ravens, they match up pretty well against these 49ers defensive wise. Of course, expect Josh Bynes and LJ Fort to just continue doing what they've been doing. But if we can just make these guys, if we can turn these guys into a one-dimensional team, like we have been with these teams over the past, a lot, that can just help the Ravens continue to do what they've been doing. They can make the 49ers one-dimensional and make them one-dimensional early. Oh, boy. You stop them running backs. Their running backs are quick now. Now, Ravens, in this game, the fundamentals got to be on point. The fundamentals have to be on point. You need to wrap up and tackle, but they haven't had an issue doing that. Again, ever since that Browns game, man. And they talked about it. I love it because they acknowledged it, too. They actually acknowledged it. I think John Harbaugh talked about it, or maybe it was I think it was Harbaugh, though. He literally talked about, because I think one of the reporters or something asked him, what has improved the most about the defense? What was it? What y'all worked on or whatnot? And he talked about tackling. He said that we worked on a lot of fundamental stuff, like the tackling and just the assignments and all. I was like, oh yeah, hey, well, at least I'm glad y'all see it. I'm glad y'all saw it. So they got to do it, man. And with Jimmy G, I think they could definitely get to him, man. They can definitely get to him. Confuse him, blitz him, hit him. Sack him, of course. I really think they could hit Jimmy G a lot. Now he can get the ball out of his hands rather quickly, but Ravens defense, they just force him into them 3rd and longs, man. And that's what them dudes they love it. I mean, any defense would love it, but it's exciting, man. And like we talked about before, it's a crazy time, but actually right now, it's exciting for both sides of the ball. Like, we talked about it before with how, as Ravens fans, we used to be more excited for the defense to be on the field than the offense. But now it's like with the offense, it's like, man, what you think about what are they going to do next? But with the defense, it's just as exciting for me to see them on the field, too. It goes both ways. But anyway, that's the defense. Special teams. Hopefully Sam Cook, can't do that. Hopefully Sam Cook can have another relaxing day, to where he's just chilling, because that would be great. So he can just be on the sideline, just taking it all in. And hopefully the only thing we'll need him for is to hold the ball when Justin Tucker is doing the point after the touchdowns, or if he just so happened no. The only time I want him out there is when Justin Tucker is doing a point after the touchdowns. If we got to kick a field goal, cool, too. But hopefully that field goal can be converted to a touchdown. And they won't even need Justin Tucker out there too much either, except after the touchdowns. And then DeAnthony Thomas. Every week, he's getting closer and closer. Every week. He's getting closer and closer. He wants to break that one, man. He wants to break it. So on Monday Night Football, he did some questionable stuff, man. It was funny because on one of the punt returns, I think he had a little space, but one punt return, like they were like real close to him. The Rams special teams, they were really close to him, and he didn't fair catch. But then when they weren't close to him, he did a fair catch. But anyway, he's every week, man, he's getting a little more comfortable, and so this week, hey, he could pop one. Maybe not for a touchdown, but he certainly could pop one. Now, to the offense. What I was talking with my boy Vicky El Guapo about earlier this morning, he was saying, and I saw some other analysts or whatever say it too, but he spoke about with the 49ers, their biggest challenges, their biggest matchup, their biggest problems on offense, quarterback-wise, have been quarterbacks that can move. They can move though. And against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, and Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they gave them their toughest games. And of course, the Seahawks beat them. But Lamar, those guys can move. Lamar can he can move. But in this game, one thing that we've been talking about all week, and I mean we've been talking about all season, is that 49ers pass rush. They are amazing. They're amazing. They are amazing at what they do. And they, like we spoke about earlier with Torrey Smith's story, how he was going over it, 10 sacks and 8 sacks, and they all sharing the wealth. They are all sharing the wealth. But in this case, with the pass rush, offensive line, they got to be strong. They got to hold up. They got to hold up big time. Because they have, like last week, I feel like they had the best defensive lineman in the game. But this week, you have 4 really good defensive linemen. So it's a different type of matchup. You may not have the best. I think you have the best defensive line in the league. Not the best defensive line man, but the best defensive line men as a unit. So, another tough task. So that offensive line, they going to have to be on point this game. On point this game. Whew. Yikes. But one thing I talked to my boy Vicky Aguapo about, I was saying with their pass rush, it all just depends on how they pass rush. If they do like a contained sort of pass rush, where the Rams did it a few times with Lamar. But, I mean, he ran for what, 90-something yards? So, yikes, it ain't work too much. But if the 49ers pass rush just straight up rushes them, and there's going to be some plays where they do that. But what if they just straight up rush him? Straight forward, straight back, try to attack him. That could create a little lane for him, a little crease where he goes, shoot. And also, of course, it depends on the linebackers or whatever. Depends on a lot of stuff. But that's where the running game is going to play a part too. Running game, pass protection, but running game. Because if you can establish a good running game, and 49ers run defense is not all that. They're not all that. So, I mean, we've went against, I know Rams defense had improved drastically. So ever since they got Jalen Ramsey, our defense has improved drastically since we got Marcus Peters. But we went against the Texans. They had the number 3 run defense. Oh, yikes. And of course, like I'm saying, every game is different. But we've went against tough defenses or tough run defenses before, and Ravens they present something different, man. They present something different that a lot of these teams it's just different, man. Because they can do so many different things. And again, I got to go back to what Mark Ingram said. He said we can come out in a heavy set and we can run or pass. We can run or pass. We can come out showing pass and run. We can come out showing run and pass. We can do so many different things out of the same formation. And again, like I talked about with this offense, man, it seems so simple, but at the same time, it's very complex. It's very complex. Now, the secondary, I'm not familiar with their secondary like that. Of course, I know Richard Sherman. He is their leader. And I absolutely love how he stuck up for Jimmy Garoppolo. I love how he stuck up for him. And that, oh boy, I loved it. Somebody made a funny comment. They were like, oh, he ain't stick up for Richard Sherman that much. I mean, he ain't stick up for Russell Wilson that much. But I loved it, man. And like I told y'all before, too, when he stuck up for Jimmy Garoppolo like that, it reminded me of Lamar Jackson. Because you could have put Lamar Jackson's name into where they were talking about, into where he mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo, and everything would have meant the same exact thing. Because he was like, it's just, with a lot of analysts and whatnot, a lot of people that's talking, his performances are never good enough. Nothing he does is good enough. Okay, he said if we run for 300 yards, and we win the game, and Jimmy only passed for like 100 yards or something like that, or less than 200, I forgot. But he was like, oh, y'all will say he didn't pass enough. And he was like, we ran for 300 yards. And then he was like, oh, if Jimmy could throw for 400 yards. He could throw for 400 yards, and we don't run the ball too much, but we win the game. He threw for 400 yards. And y'all could say, oh, he didn't spread the ball. They didn't spread the ball out enough. And he was like, he said the goalposts, they keep shifting. But anyway, I always like Richard Sherman, man. I always like Richard Sherman. But he And again, that defense, they've been causing some turnovers themselves now. They have been a very aggressive defense, a very, like I said, feasting defense. They've been eating on these quarterbacks, man. They just demolished Aaron Rodgers in that offense last week. Demolished. So now they play Lamar Jackson in the Ravens offense. So Ravens just got to keep doing what they've been doing. Run that ball. And then, of course, take your shots. Take your shots. Lamar hasn't been throwing too many deep passes, but he also hasn't needed to. But they just continue to do your thing. The short, intermediate passes, throwing some deep passes too. Catch him off guard. Just continue to work, and hopefully Lamar continues to be very efficient. Like he certainly was efficient. I mean, I was just gonna say last week, but it's been a lot of that. So it's gonna be a game, man. It's gonna be a tough game. I still think it's gonna be a tough game. I know some of y'all be like, Ingraven, we're not gonna stretch. I told you. Like after the game, you'll be like, Ingraven, I told you weren't gonna struggle with these guys. I still think this is gonna be a tough game. I do. I hope that I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I do. I think this is gonna be a tough one, man. Because this team, they just present some new challenges. Now, of course, Ravens have been taking all challenges and all challengers, but this team, they present something, man. And this is essentially a game that will show people who the clear-cut number one team in the league is. Now, I think if it goes to overtime or something, then maybe not. But if this game could show people who the clear-cut number one team in the league is. This one right here. So we'll just see how it goes, man. I'm looking forward to it. The games today, I don't know about all that. But I am looking forward to the Saints-Falcons game, though. The other two games, not so much. So we'll see how things go. Anyway, team, keep it clean. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for allowing me to take up some of this time in your lives and your schedules and whatever you got going on. Just know that I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for supporting, and I'm out.